I had a circumstance today where I just completely forgot about a booking because I didn't book it in. I don't know if this happens to you guys, but if you're a solo operator, what happens is you will be, let's say, on a job, and then somebody emails, especially if they email, this can happen. They'll email and then say, okay, what day do you think would work? And then, so in this case, it was for a business, a dispensary that's going up, and they'll be open in like a month. Well, he emailed me, and so I'll get bombarded with, basically spam or marketing material and email. And, so I'm going to the next job or the next. And by the end of the day, I forget we even had a conversation because people are calling and texting. Well, today I go to the ski hill. I like to run up and down the ski hill to keep fit. And I get this call, and the guy goes, "Hey, Marshall, it's Travis." I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" Like, "Can I help you?" type of thing. And he goes, "Yeah, we were booked for 10 a.m. and it's 11 a.m. And I know you have an hour window, so I was just wondering if you're gonna be here quick or soon." And I was like, "Okay, well, I don't see any booking." And he goes, "Member for the three TVs?" And I go, "Oh God, I'm sorry, my man." I go, "I'll tell you what, I completely forgot to book that in, but I can head right out of here." I said, I'm at a ski hill running up and down ski hills," which he's like, "What?" I go, "Never mind that. I'll get up to you. It shows a 45-minute drive, and then, you know, I'll be to you though, as long as you're fine if I don't stop home and change, into my work stuff." So he's like, "Yeah, I don't care." He goes, "Jorge, you gonna be here at noon still?" And Jorge's like, "Yeah, where am I gonna go?" You know. So they're super chill about it, as you might expect if it's a guy who owns a dispensary. Super good guy. It's like, I got there 45 minutes later, and then put up the TVs in a situation where it's gonna be the menus, and so three TVs side by side, a situation with fixed brackets. And I charged for this situation. I charged $250 a piece, so $750 for the service, and then $50 a piece for the brackets, so $900. Um, and that was just a nice and easy job. But I've gotten so comfortable in this business. It's rare that I have a month under 30,000, even in the slow months, which the first 4 months of the year are generally slow for this business. And you kind of get relaxed. And I get more corporate clients now, and so like the average invoice is getting higher, and the amount of clients I have to get to is getting, smaller because I can cut out a lot of the 55-inch TV on the drywall type of jobs. For those, I charge $150 if it's just on a drywall and not above a fireplace. For the service anyway. If they need a bracket or cord concealing, obviously those are add-ons. But it, it's it's almost, it feels like I'm retired, to be honest. I've got it dialed in so well. Plus, I mean, as you can see, the car drives me around everywhere, so I spend a lot of my time chatting with, my AI agents that I have set up that do all the drudgery work. For instance, when I got done with this job, the moment the client paid, it sends a webhook to one of my agents, Q, its name is, out of James Bond movies. Q is the quartermaster that takes care of all the tech. Well, Q for me does that exact same thing, except it's not making me weapons. But I shoot a photo over to Q of the final work, and Q immediately puts that onto my website, into my blog section. I call it installation posts section. And so, I mean, I'm doing all this while the Tesla's driving me around. And then when I need to brainstorm, the Tesla brainstorms with me. And so that's always amazing. And so it's driving me and brainstorming with me about, what keywords do you think we could use to maximize more of these sort of jobs that I just did here? Stuff like that. It's just phenomenal. And so, I mean, it truly does feel like, I mean, I've got everything dialed in so nicely that it just feels like I'm retired in a way. It just feels fantastic. right. Is my wife out of the spot? Oh, there's Mallory. There she is, lugging a bunch of bags. And so, yeah, if you if you guys are interested in knowing how I do it, I'm putting together a little course like everybody. I'm looking to be even more retired, so I can cherry pick more of the great jobs by selling you fine fellows a strategy on how I do it, or